And we are back here on Couch Coach Live, another Wednesday night under the lights here on Couch Coach Live. What's going on, Maui?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Same old, just powering through, man.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man.
That's what's up.
We'll continue our 12th annual NFL preview. So we're going to talk about the North, a division that's very near and dear to you as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. We'll talk about the AFC North with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, Cleveland Browns, and Cincinnati Bengals. And then we'll shift to the North. We got the Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings, and Green Bay Packers. So we got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. So we got to stay in the North first, as we have done these last 3 weeks on the 12th annual Couch Coach Live NFL preview. So got to go around the horn and do our AFC North storylines to watch. So we'll have a storyline to watch for each 4 teams of this division. So what are your 4 storylines for these 4 teams in this division?
I'm going to start with the Ravens. And I'm like, will the Ravens win the AFC Championship? They got Jackson, Henry, Hopkins, Zay Flower. They're loaded, man. Their defense is probably if you wanted to necessarily criticize them, you could look at their defense, but I mean, they got everything. They, even Henry, he got respected. He's a threat. He got paid. So what's next? Really, I think the AFC Championship. If anything, is the AFC Championship, and then get into the Super Bowl. Next up, I'm gonna go with my Steelers, and the storyline is for me is I just want to know what this offense. I want to pay attention to this offense, and I want to know is all these vets plus Rodgers, are they going to move forward and not just be number 2 and number 3 in the division? I have another storyline for them with having Rodgers and these vets and Watt getting paid. Will he get his first playoff win? I have another, but that's it on the Steelers. That's my team. So I think those are the main thing. I think their defense is going to be. Be well. I think it seems like everybody likes to play for Tomlin. I think the organization is finally getting itself back to being highly respected. So that's my storyline for them. My next one is will the Bengals? It's going to be the Bengals. I said, will the Bengals team start off early, winning this season? Because they always tend to start off slow and then do well much at the end of the season. And I wonder if they start off early this season, maybe they could be in the. Because to be honest with you, I really think they're really in the top 2 of the division, but they seem to always just drag their feet in the beginning of the season. And the next one is the Browns. I said with all the quarterback controversy, who will be the QB for the future? This QB this season for the future for the Cleveland Browns.
I think starting off with Pittsburgh, can Aaron Rodgers help the Steelers make the playoffs? Obviously, if you look at his productions last year, 3,897 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 28 touchdowns on the season last season. I think that's good, potentially good enough for this Steelers team to kind of get back to the playoffs, even though they didn't miss it. But, as far as come back and make another, appearance in the playoffs now with a better quarterback than you've had probably since Ben Roethlisberger. So,
yeah.
that's the hope for Pittsburgh. I think Cleveland is a quarterback curtail. I think and I think the biggest thing is who will be the last man standing. I think that's been the story pretty much from at the draft night. I mean, essentially after the end of the NFL draft, who will be that last man standing? Even though there's a good chance they're probably going to keep 4 quarterbacks on a roster, from what I was told, but there's going to be a point where somebody's going to be on that practice squad. Somebody's going to be a healthy scratch week in, week out. It's so it's going to be interesting how this all going to play out in these next few weeks, and obviously having the development that just happened today with the oblique injury with Shador. So it's kind of where it's really going to be a very interesting final 2 weeks for the Browns for the preseason. So
okay,
a lot of drama going on in Cleveland. I put it that way. So I think Baltimore, almost to echo your sentiments, it's championship or bust. I think with Baltimore, I think what they did in the offseason, I think they had great subtle moves, not like break the bank type moves or like these statements. I think they made great moves, especially with the acquisition of Jair Alexander, who they just got maybe about a month or so ago. Definitely enhanced that secondary. And then DeAndre Hopkins. I think those are 2 kind of solid moves that kind of help their depth and respectively in the secondary, and then also from their wide receiver core. So, essentially, like championship or bust. Like it's one of those where it's like, hey, this is an opportunity. Strike it while it's hot. Lamar is on this. I consider his MVP type campaign in the sense where he's going to churn out all these year in, year out MVP performances. And you got to make, have those type of efforts and punch it in and at least make it to the Super Bowl, in my personal opinion, for the Ravens team. And then Cincinnati, can Al Golden reshape their defense? Their defensive coordinator now. He was their linebackers coach in 2021, the year that they made their Super Bowl run. And then if we want to talk about as far as reshaping the defense, the biggest person that needs to be in this defense, Trey Hendrickson, a deal's got to get done.
Right.
Even though it's still a good sign that he's still in the facility, he's still there in meetings and stuff like that. But you need him. Someone who had almost 18 sacks, led the league in sacks last year, and he's not, he hasn't got that long-term deal that he wants. So, and like I said, Cincinnati, I look at that team as, a lot of what ifs. Like, what if they would have if they would have won week 1 against New England, where we all thought they were going to win. If they would have beat Washington in the Monday Night Football game, this team possibly could have been making the playoffs. So it's just one of those things where it's like a lot of those things, like it's really, like we talked about, having that good start in the beginning to kind of help those type of situations where you don't have to necessarily have to get hot at the right time, because it's like what ended up happening to them in week 17, where they went to Pittsburgh and won. Then they pretty much had to sit and wait, the whole day. Sunday, on pins and needles, like, okay, do we get in or we don't? And then, lo and behold, they didn't get in. So I definitely think that, they don't want to be in that position again. Week 18, my bad. Week 18, I forgot we got a week 18. But anyway, week 18. So, yeah. So, who is your player to watch in the AFC North? Your offensive player and then your defensive player to watch.
I put Warren for the offense. And the reason why I put him there is because I do feel like when Harris is gone, so he's going to be the number 1 running back. It's going to go through him. I feel like he was one of those, and maybe if he seemed like one of those running back, it might be a lot of pressure on him, because now I feel like defenses are going to be scouting him more than where they were the last few years, because they was looking at Harris. You know what I mean? Defense, I'm gonna pick Watt. I'm happy he got paid, but he's getting older, and I'm gonna be honest with you, he gets hurt a lot. Like he gets hurt a lot, and so he's going to be somebody that I'm going to watch to see if he stay healthy. I do feel like the Steelers actually, if something happens to him, I feel like they got enough that can move forward. But you can't replace a Watt. So those are the two that I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, not to be biased, but I got my eyes on my team. I haven't been giving them a lot of attention, but I'm watching because there's a lot of question marks.
Yeah. I think offensively, it's got to be Joe Burrow. Like I talked about it tonight, it's kind of sort of, but in previous weeks, I think when we did the top 5 quarterbacks, I looked at Joe Burrow as a guy that could have been an MVP candidate if this team would have made the playoffs. You look at last year, 4,918 yards, passing yards, 43 touchdowns. Had a phenomenal year, and I definitely think he has that opportunity to maybe hit that 5,000 mark this year potentially. And obviously having Jamar Chase in the fold, also T. Higgins also in the fold as well too. So he could be someone I definitely think could potentially, even though he had a great year last year, I would say more so of a rebound as far as in the win column, not necessarily in production. But I definitely think Joe Burrow definitely can get back to this statistical level, coupled with maybe a few more wins, and maybe potentially punch their way into the playoffs. So that's who I'm looking forward on offense. Defense, I'm staying in Cincinnati as well. Trey Hendrickson, I think it's to watch in more ways than one. I want to watch how this contract negotiation situation kind of plays out, and then hopefully, which I'm assuming that this all going to cease, where they're just going to sign on. I mean, you just can't let a guy like that just essentially, walk in the sense where that production is just tremendous, and they're going to need that type of production with the Cincinnati defense. And that's one thing too, where the defense really let them down last season. So now, having him in the fold, hopefully, and he'll, be able to play week 1 and be ready. They need him. Like if they this is one player that they cannot afford. I know, yes, they can't afford to not have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Yes, offensively, yes, and for the team and everything. But if you want to put a hierarchy, he's the third person that has to be on this team in order for this team to be effective. So if you're doing a list 1 through 3, Trey Hendrickson is 3/2A, 2B. Like he's vital. Especially for a defense that has struggled. You got to have arguably one of the best guys on defense, for sure. Right. Yeah, for Cincinnati. But yeah.
I want to ask a question. Why do the Bengals drag their feet on playing their players? Like they're really underachieving. Didn't they make it to like the Super Bowl a few years back?
Yeah, during the 2021 season. So pretty much the Super Bowl in 2022. So yeah, when they played the Rams in LA. Yeah. So that's been that'll be 4 years ago if you.
Yeah, so I mean, like, why would you want to keep that together? Like you hadn't had that type of success. Everyone is saying that you're underachieving. I mean, just play your core, the people that everybody know that you need. Like, you know what I mean? So you can build around them. I don't understand why you dragging your feet and why you play. Like they did the same thing with Chase, right?
Chase, T. Higgins, like, yeah. I mean, yeah. And that's just, that's what teams are doing. I don't know a lot of them, I don't get it, especially like a Trey Hendrickson. You need him, especially how bad his defense was. He was pretty much her bright spot last year, despite, having that terrible defense last year.
And this division is you know what I mean? Yeah, like it's physical, and I wouldn't want to play as hard as I play and then be in the fourth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny. But it's still black and blue type with bruising and all that stuff, but then you got the quarterbacks, which I think that's really interesting of how, because this used to be a division that didn't really have the quarterbacks, but now, I mean, you literally have, you sit down and think about it, you got three guys that I think could be in the running for an MVP type season.
Right.
You know, and then the wild card essentially is Joe Flacco. Like, he could have another, when we see him in Cleveland,
right.
You know, 2 years ago, yes, he played his tail off, but we're going to see Indianapolis Joe Flacco. We're going to see the Joe Flacco versus Houston in that playoff game that year. So, you know, he's a toss-up. Even at 40, he still brings someone at a level of intrigue at that position. I mean, as far as from the quarterbacks that we, you know, 4 quarterbacks in this division. So, it's still a bruising division, but you still got some really good quarterbacks in this division for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So let's shift our focus to the rookie of our rookies to watch offensively and defensively. Who you got?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Offensively, it's Cleveland Browns 5th rounder Shedeur Sanders. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. It's hard for me. I want him to succeed. I'm a Steeler. So, and I like Lamar. So, like, you know, if my team didn't make it, at least I got 2 other teams I could cheer for. I'm not even gonna lie for you. Defense, I'm gonna go to Derek Harmon, Detroit, from Michigan, defensive tackle, big guy, 6'5". You know, the Ravens never really scared me until they got Henry, and I'm just sitting here like, man, like, you know what I mean? Because, you know, we got to play him most likely at the end of the season. So I'm happy I'm really going to be paying attention to Derek Harmon and, you know what I'm saying, to help stop Big Henry.
Yeah. And Baltimore, for some odd reason, they strike it rich when it comes to draft picks. They are like the best. And it's crazy because they just nail them. I don't, it's an inexact science how they have scouted and have done well, and like we talked about it. That's kind of one of the reasons why we talked about like their depth, and they built their secondary, and then you add that type of core piece in Jair Alexander. You kind of quasi built that wide receiver room, which we'll talk about momentarily, and then you acquire that type of depth. So it's like Baltimore. They just don't miss when it comes to like scouting, and they just strike gold when it comes to these rookies. It's crazy. It's like I feel like the last 5 years, if I would have had like who's the winners of drafts, it would have been Baltimore. Like, yeah. So speaking of that, what I want to look for offensively is actually kind of a guy they have at Jadante Wester from Colorado, the wide receiver for the Ravens. And the good thing about now when we doing these previews going forward, we kind of got a little action ahead of it as well, because obviously Wester had the 87-yard punt return last week against the Colts. And that's another one where Baltimore, I think, could potentially strike it rich, even though, yes, we just seen a appetizer sample size of what he can do. But I think he's going to be big for special teams for this football team. And that's another thing dynamic that Baltimore that's another thing what Baltimore have, where I think if you can get, I don't necessarily he's going to run to the house every time, but I think he's going to give you some sustainable drives. Like, he'll get you in spots where you may not be. I mean, you may, get past the 20, as far as get you about 15, 20 yards on a punt return. That can potentially get you, at least about, and maybe in the 20, 30, 40 range when you start your offense. And that can be huge. And that's where, especially when you're trying to march down the field, you get a guy like him who can kind of chunk maybe 15, 20 yards out of as far as the drive wise. I mean, you can really start off potentially just having a 65-yard drive to score, or a 70-yard drive compared to maybe an 80-yard drive or a 90-yard drive. I think I think that's gonna be a good shot, like as far as what he can do. So I definitely think he's gonna play a big role in special teams, which a lot of people don't look at special teams. Special teams is not as sexy as like offense and defense, but field position is key, and I think he'll be someone that can definitely help in that return game for them. I'm curious about Mason Graham.
Okay.
From Cleveland, he was the 5th overall pick, and I say this because essentially this is where they traded down from the Travis Hunter pick.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they traded with Jacksonville. Jacksonville had the 5th pick. They did a pick swap, and of course Cleveland got Jacksonville pick next year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always intrigued about Michigan guys. Just that pedigree that essentially that Jim Harbaugh kind of orchestrated in that championship run. I think about pretty much from COVID to when he left last season. Those type of guys that are now in the NFL. I definitely see how he will be on that line, especially on the opposite of Myles Garrett. He could be a situation where he could be a beneficiary of that. Stats don't jump out the window. He had 3.5 sacks last year for Michigan. So obviously that's not like eye popping type numbers, but I think it's it's pretty solid. But I think with that defense, I definitely think he can make it. He can make an impact. I know a lot of we talk about Cleveland as far as especially from the offense standpoint. Obviously about Shador and also with Dylan Gabriel as far as the real rookies that we're really gonna watch. I think he's gonna be someone that's I think could have a quiet rookie year, and I'm really curious, especially now after you traded down to get him. So that's kind of one of those where it's gonna be really interesting because so I think he's gonna be solid for this team. So got to give an AFC North hot take if we have one or we don't. Any AFC North hot takes?
I got 2, but I don't really like that one now that I'm looking at it. But I'm my hot take is Joe. Let me see. How can I say this? At the end of the season, Joe Burrow is fed up with the Bengals and asks for a trade. That's my hot take.
Okay. Actually, I got an interesting one. So I say Shador Sanders will be on another team by Labor Day.
Mine's was something like that, but I just felt like it was too negative. Like I was like, mid-season, Shador has to start. He does well, but then they sign a vet and sit him down next game. And I was like, nah, I ain't really like how it came out. But you know what? Honestly, I mean, that's what I wanted to ask you. I mean, he should be easy to trade, though, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of all right. So I'm gonna kind of walk you through my whole process. So in May, I went to my neighborhood barbershop. And I said that Shador Sanders will probably be on the practice squad at best. Of course, they looked at me like I was a plumb fool. And I'm like, it's going to be hard to overcome, not to be, like that type of, it's going to be hard for him to overcome in that depth chart.
Okay.
So, and obviously, we had the game on Friday where Shador had a great showing. He get the setback today. He got the oblique injury. So pretty much he's going to be out for Saturday against Philly. All right. So that's probably going to give Dylan Gabriel an opportunity to play. Kenny Pickett an opportunity to play. So I assume them and probably see a little Snoop Huntley play on Saturday. All right. So then you have the final preseason game is going to be at home. So I'm thinking that Shador's going to get some play in that, and I think it's going to be probably. I doubt if Kenny going to play next week or whatever time they play next week, that final game. So it's probably going to be Dylan Shador, and Snoop Huntley. So, with that being said, I think a lot of teams are watching it. I think a lot of teams are thinking to themselves, because it's in limbo. Because if you're a team, am I willing to trade for him, give up assets, or just claim him off potentially waivers, or if he's in the practice squad and you try to pick him up from the practice squad? Because if I'm a GM and I really want Shador, I'm gonna let it play out. I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to give you a 7th-round pick next year, or 2026 7th-round pick, and I could get him pretty much, claim him off of waivers potentially, or claim him from that. So it's like, I'm saying this because I think it's a better situation wherever he goes than Cleveland. I think if Cleveland drafted him number 2 overall, or if they would have even traded down to keep the 5th, I just think he's in such a bad spot regardless, because of just the simple fact of, like we said last week, regardless of what Shador do, the quarterback of the future is not on this roster. You don't trade down an opportunity. You had Travis Hunter in your lap. Pause. You don't get rid of a guy like, you don't draft that guy. You trade down.
Mm-hmm.
You go and get a 2026 1st-round pick from Jacksonville. So regardless of how Jacksonville is, so say if it's Jacksonville, best case scenario, mid-1st round. The Browns, I don't know. Browns could be like maybe say if it's the Browns in the top 7. So they get the 7th pick and then they got the 18th pick. They can package those 2 picks together. Say if it's New England's bad this year. It's just an exercise. It's not like nothing. Don't quote me anything. But like if it's New England got like the top pick, just for an exercise. They already got a quarterback in place. They can trade with a team that already has, like with them, or any team that has a quarterback already. I could give you my 7th, I give you my 16th, put it together. Boom, I don't have to necessarily worry about any 2027 compensation. I mean, I may have to throw you a 2nd or a 3rd maybe in 2027, but I don't have to give you a 1st. You wouldn't think. But I'm giving, so they can package that to get their quarterback next year. So because to me, I think this experiment is going to go wrong. And I think he just needs to get out of town. And I think that's the best way to get out of town.
So, where do you think he may go? Come on, give it to me. Give me 3.
And this is just off the top of my head.
I got you.
I wouldn't mind him going to New Orleans. I think New Orleans would be a good spot. But even though they got Tyler Shaw in the 2nd round,
he did well.
Really
he did okay.
Did well.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's good, because that might be another situation that's similar. I'm thinking down the line, like who would need like a backup per se? I don't think they would trade in the division. I mean, I think Pittsburgh would be good, but I don't even think it's gonna be a trade. I think it could be one thing where he just could get picked up from some team. As far as, because I still think he'll probably make the practice squad,
right?
But because they're probably going to keep 4. But like if I'm a team, I'm like, all right, I need to get something from it. Because a lot of teams, let's see, off the top of my head, I said that I'm gonna walk that back. Maybe the Miami Dolphins. Even though they got Zach Wilson as the backup, I think like if injury, I think he would be solid in Miami potentially. But that's the situation I think might be gone. So he might be in that situation there. I'm going down the list now. I'm looking at the North. Nobody from the North. Let's see. No. They already got that. Carolina, no. Atlanta, no. Tennessee, definitely not.
49ers?
Or anywhere. I mean, the Raiders. I mean, yeah, he did back
Raiders,
up.
yeah.
Mac Jones is there. Mac Jones is there. So Mac Jones is in San Francisco.
Okay.
Probably the Raiders. So probably the Raiders. Maybe San Francisco potentially.
What about the boys?
So Las Vegas, San Francisco. It's a possibility, but it's gonna be too much of a circus. If you think Cleveland is a circus, this is Circus Olay, the 4-ring circus, Ballin and Bailey, all of it. Because they're
okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking earlier, what about Jacksonville as a backup?
Yeah, with Jacksonville, that would be somewhat of an ideal spot for him. Because who is their backup? Their backup, I don't think they. Let me let me see who is their backup. Because you do got Trevor Lawrence there. Their backup is Nick Mullins. So yeah, that's a possibility, and they'll go good with Travis. I think that'll be something where they can look at down the future, like, hey, we kind of, and put a package together, put them two together. Because I mean, I think Jacksonville they will at least be experimental with everything. Because I think if you allow Travis Hunter to play on both sides, certain packages, I can see them building up orchestrating a play for like Shador to Travis. So yeah, we say Jacksonville, Las Vegas, San Francisco. I think that's.
So I know we got to move on.
I'm kind of doing a process of elimination because I'm
right.
Yeah.
Did you think that this whole setup was to see if it was going to be a circus, like him being drafted where he was drafted, him being on a team, them showing that he can play in the league? He can play in the league, and it's not as a crazy circus as they showed Colorado in the first season, because the first season was wild. Like, it was just over the top. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was almost like auditioning a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll draft him, bring him to Cleveland. Because like I'm thinking of the owner, like, well, I really don't want to, but I will. I'll let him try out here, and I'm sure I'll be able to make some money off of it. Because like you saying, you believe he's just gonna make it on the practice squad, right? And that somebody eventually somebody would be like, well, because it's not like anybody's saying that he should just go and just start and run a team. Everybody's saying like it is okay for him to be a backup. You know what I mean? It's okay for him to be a backup and you know what I'm saying, and be behind somebody. But at the same time, we do believe that he's better than a lot of starting QBs. I do believe he should be playing in the league. You know what I mean? So I guess my question is, do you feel like something like that might have happened where they was like, let's see if this is going to be a problem, and if it is, at least I make some money off of it. Or you understand what I'm saying? I may not be wording the question right, but what you think?
Yeah, I think so. Which I think this is what end up also boiled down to, because this type of move will get a GM fired, like what transpired with drafting Dylan Gabriel on a Friday night. Less than 24 hours later, you draft Shador Sanders, which it should have been in reverse. In my personal opinion,
right?
I think for him to be in the 5th round was crazy. I think the thing with the situation is, I think it's just more so. I think this was an Andrew Berry move. I mean, obviously, Jimmy Haslam pretty much kind of said it already. It's like, hey, we talked Friday night. We get the quarterback. I would have never thought when we talked about drafting Dylan Gabriel that we get another quarterback the next day. So that to me just showed me that was an Andrew Berry move, and the only reason why, like, as far as me saying he's gonna probably be in the practice squad, because I think you'll keep 3. So obviously you'll have 2 start, on a game day basis. you're dressed 2. I think you can have 3, but I think the third one's gonna be in street clothes, but he can still be available. So that'll be like the Dylan Gabriel. I think Dylan Gabriel will be like that scratch, which is that help scratch every week, and then Shador up top in the skybox, just doing this. Fact of you signed Joe Flacco, you signed him,
right?
So that lets me know that you want him. Kenny Pickett, you traded for him. You actually got rid of assets. You got rid of Dorian DTR and some assets to get him. So he's going to get a chance.
Right.
Dylan Gabriel's a 3rd round pick. Like we talked about, those Friday picks are like those bargain bin DVD rack at your local retailer.
Right.
You're digging for gold. So you gotta see if this gold glitter or not with Dylan Gabriel. So he's going to get a chance. He's going to get an opportunity. And then you get Shador at the 5th round. It's like he's one of those guys that will be, in most cases, will be like your fringe guy, like the last man standing potentially, or the last person at the musical chairs without a seat.
Right. Made a lot of money off him too.
That's how I look at it.
And I'm looking at it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's
playing Saturday. So that's another one where keep out. Just think if Dylan plays well, because yeah, and that's the thing. So it's going to be really interesting of how this all going to really play out. But I definitely think he will be like that 4th guy.
Well, I'll say this. They made a lot of money off his jerseys, and I just wonder if they just trying to kind of like make money off his celebrity. Because I'm thinking to myself, if he go to another team, that's a whole bunch of millions that they're going to be able to make off his jersey sales. I mean, I don't know. It just I also feel like they necessarily letting him know, like, they have complete control, because it still doesn't make any sense that he got picked in the 5th round. You know what I mean? And it's not just a lot of other things they're talking about in the NFL, but they're definitely, you can't run away from this story. But I guess it is what it is. But yeah, everybody, Couch Coach Live still here. Just a little technical difficulty here. Be back in a second. But so I'm gonna talk about my Steelers. Like, I'm curious to see how they really going to be this year. It seemed like they mixed it up. It's kind of reminding me of the Bucks when Tom Brady went there. It just seemed like they got a lot of vets. It seemed like some of those vets is trying to figure out a way to fall in love with football again. Since I was listening to Ramsey and a few of them talk, they just seem like, when you sit there and you sit out, you own contracts and you go to these different teams, you kind of lose the thing that make you excited about playing the game. And it seemed like they're all looking for that. I'm really curious to see what Rodgers is going to do. I'm sure he's not the same Rodgers, but I don't know. I'm really trying not to get too excited, because I'm kind of like, man, we might be a little dangerous. But then you realize it is the AFC North, and you're gonna have to do a lot to get past that Ravens team. But hey, it is what it is. And that's just don't understand the Bengals. Like, just don't. I don't understand some of these. It's like, who you think you're going to get better? I just think they are underachieving, and they don't know what they necessarily want to do. Um, but hey, man, like if you guys have watched some of the shows, like we was Anthony Richardson, like we that's what we said in the preview. We said hopefully this season he doesn't get hurt, stay healthy, and he got hurt and hurt his pinky, and a lot of the analysts is saying that he should have saw that bliss was coming, and he did. So I'm sure Daniel Jones is happy. It seemed like the offense though was set up for Daniel Jones anyway, but yeah, but I'm really interesting to see what coaches because next we're about to do the scheduling and see how many wins and who wins the division. It just seemed like it's probably going to most likely be the same, because I don't see anybody. Like I said, I just don't see anybody really beating the Ravens unless you're dealing with health issues. But it's just crazy. Like the Shedeur Sanders situation, though, it really does bother me. But hey man, everybody's path is different. So, but it's funny when Coach talk, like he telling the truth. He said he think he gonna make the practice squad, and I'm like, it's weird. It's almost like either you need to really know how to handle your business, or because it don't seem like it's about who's the best or who's going to get the team to be better than they were last year or even win a division. It seemed like it's just politics. But hey, I think they made a mistake not signing Flacco last year. So, but it's still the Browns. Like it's weird too because I really don't think they listen to their fans and what the fans think. It's like they're going to do what they want to do. And the superstar is here.
I say superstar. Hey. The internet is trash, man. My internet is so trash.
But like I said, man, it just seemed like it's politics. It's like you just. I was speaking on this to Shedeur Sanders. Like it makes me feel uncomfortable, but it's like I feel like he's the best, but I don't know. I guess it's one of those jobs. Probably one of the hardest jobs to do is to be a GM.
Yeah, and that's the thing about all of it. Just never know.
Right.
But yeah, it's.
But you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be good. Yeah.
I'm glad to see you back, man. My back was sweating. I was like, "Woo!" I was about to start.
my internet is just not great at all. So yeah, I don't know what's going on, but yeah. So all right, so we'll close out the NFC North with our record predictions. All right, so how you have this division playing out? What you got?
I got the Ravens winning 13-4. I got the Steelers one game behind at number 2, 12-5. I got the Bengals at 8-9, and I got the Browns at 6-11.
All right, Baltimore, Pitt, Clee, and so Cincy, 6-11. All right, Browns. All right, so I got the Ravens at 13-4 as well. I just got the Bengals at 11-6. I got the Steelers at 9-8, and I have the Browns at 5-12. Yeah, so it's gonna be, like I said, another rough year for this team, and coupled with that Jacksonville pick, and you will potentially have potentially a top pick in next year's draft. So yeah, so we'll shift the focus to the NFC. And we'll talk about the NFC North, and these are the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings, and Green Bay Packers. So, for each team, what is your storyline for the NFC North? What you got?
I wrote entirely too much stuff. But yeah, I got the Lions. For the Lions, I got with a lot of his coaching staff leaving, and they went to the Jets and they went to the rival Bears. I says, will the Lions still dominate and win the division? I said, and I also said, to win this division, will a team has to win? Will a team in the division have to win 15 games? With the Packers, they won 11 games last year. I put they finished top 8 in offense and defense points per game. I guess what I'm saying is, are they fool's gold or gold? And then with the Vikings, with only winning 14 games and finished second in the division, is this their division to take? And I got one more, I think. Yeah, and I think with them also, and the reason I'm saying that, because this is the first, they put a lot in JJ McCarthy. I think Brian Flores is going to have the defense ready. They really a solid team. I mean, this is the highest quarterback I think they've ever drafted, if I'm not mistaken. So they putting a lot on him, and he hasn't even had a professional snap yet. Has he in the actual season yet? Has he?
No, I think he got hurt in the preseason. Yeah, he got hurt in the preseason last year. So yeah.
Right. So that's with the Vikings. One more is with the Bears. I'm sure everybody thinks the storyline is Caleb, but I put this is what I said, with Jalen Daniels stealing the show last season. Will Ben Johnson finally fix the Bears QB issue? And that's it.
So Detroit, I mean, obviously, without Ben Johnson and what was that coach? Aaron, with losing the 2 coordinators, how would they bounce back? Aaron Glenn, and Ben Johnson. My bad. So the 2 coordinators gone. Can they rebound, especially after having the number 1 seed last year and then obviously losing to Washington? Can they bounce back? Are they're in a weird situation where have their championship window kind of closed? So to be interesting of how will their new offensive and defensive coordinators fare this go around. Caleb Williams for the Bears, year 2, have they recovered from that midseason slump? I think that's the biggest thing was, I mean, I think that season slump is got to be something that it's got to be studied. I mean, you think that team was 4-2 going into that game against Washington, and then I think they lost, I want to say, about 10 out of the last 12 games. I mean, I'm telling you, they were terrible. And then now you insert Ben Johnson, in how he and what's their GM? I can't believe I messed up with a GM. The guy from he was with Kansas City. But what they've done with that offensive line, with Joe Tooney, Jonah Jackson, and Drew Dalman, can they help? As far as, and I know Ben Johnson always have had a good offensive line, even dating back to Detroit. And can he and I think he's going to really help, because Caleb Williams, he had 68 sacks last season. So that's definitely going to decrease. Ryan Poole, Ryan Poole's their GM. That's what we have. Ryan Poles, their GM. And what he's done, On the offensive line for the Bears. It's going to be good. Green Bay. It's kind of an interesting pivotal year for them. Obviously, LaFleur he had 2 years left on his deal. I think, in my personal opinion, he has to have a good year. Because I know a lot of circles have said, like Mark Murphy, their president / GM, pretty much don't like guys on lame duck deals. So obviously, you're gonna go on the exception. If he has a great year, you extend him, and potentially if he don't extend them, we'll be sitting here next year, talk about LaFleur being a lame duck coach and pretty much on the hot seat. So I think this will be a pivotal year for him, even though they've gone to back-to-back playoffs. Pretty much in this post Aaron Rodgers era, they've made it to the playoffs in both years. So really interesting, weird kind of thing going on in Minnesota, in Green Bay. And then Minnesota, we had the J.J. McCarthy era begins. They pretty much gave him the reins. Kind of figured this was going to happen. Obviously, you don't draft a guy in the first round, and you don't give him the keys to the car at least by year 2. And then how that affect with Jordan Addison, 3-game suspension. So lots going on in Minnesota. So all right. So who are your offensive and defensive player to watch in the North, in the NFC North? We'll put it that way.
Offense, I'm gonna say JJ McCarthy. Like I said, he hasn't even had a snap. And truth be told, like if you pay attention to the Vikings, they have actually been very successful the last 4 or 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean? Like when Kirk Cousins, he was there 2 years, 2-3 years.
Kirk Cousins was there. God, he was there 6? What? Because he got there.
It was 6 years.
2018.
Okay.
So 6 years.
6 years. And they was always like in games, or they was just always somewhat. They had some flaws, but you didn't think they were gonna win the Super Bowl or anything, but they've always been successful. So they let him go, and then they moved to the future. So I just want to see what JJ McCarthy, and then I want to go with Aiden Hutchinson. Like we're talking about the Lions losing a lot, but they had a lot of health issues last season. So I definitely want to see, because he was on his way. He was actually on a path to being Defensive Player of the Year. So I definitely want to see what Aiden Hutchinson is going to do this season. And I think he's probably, for what everybody's kind of questioning that team, he's probably going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Matt's going to go offensively. I'm going to say Caleb Williams.
Good one.
I think people because last year, minus Jaden Daniels and minus a Bo Nix, he had a great rookie year. I mean, when you really sit down and you really think about it, as far as from a statistical standpoint, 3,541 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions, which that's pretty good for a rookie. Like I said, but he's in a class of Bo Nix and Jay Daniels. But minus those two, I think he could have, he was solid. And now coupled with a guy like a Ben Johnson there, as I talked about, as far as the offensive line, being able to kind of get 3 solid guys on that line to kind of help him, which I think, and that offensive line will continue to grow. You look at just kind of the weapons that he got: Roma Duzier, Moore, then the guys kid played for Washington last year. You got them there. Obviously, you still got Swift at the running back position, and then you got obviously you still got Cole Kmet, and you also got Colston Loveland, who's a lot of people, and I think he'll be good in that offense as well. So they're building a mini Detroit in a sense, where you look at as far as having those booking kind of have good tight end play. Because obviously you had they got like with Detroit got like Laporta, and I forgot who I drawn a blank. Did No, that's toxic with the Minnesota. But anyway, you got that good tight end play. Then now you got, now you build that offensive line. So it's really going to be. I think it's going to be a really good year for Caleb Williams. I know a lot of people, think about having stuff off the field, but I think he's going to be good.
I got a few questions if you don't mind me asking. Do you think it's true that they said nobody will watch film with him?
I mean, maybe in the other administration, I doubt if that's
yeah. In the other administration, that's what I mean. Yeah, not Ben Johnson, but the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I definitely know that Ben Johnson and staff definitely will be definitely doing that for him. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, that's probably the reason why they ain't there. I mean, as far as when it comes to as far as getting the quarterback, as far as the quarterback being your real true investment. So that's another thing too. So defensively, I got Jonathan Allen.
Okay.
I think Jonathan Allen, even though you looked at kind of what he did last year in Washington, only played 8 games last year, had 3 sacks. I really like what he's going to bring to the table in Minnesota. I think they're going to get a really good pass rusher. I think he's going to be great in Brian Flores' scheme. I think he's going to be someone. I would not be surprised if he gets double-digit sacks this year. Obviously, we haven't seen it in his career yet, but I definitely think Jonathan Allen could potentially have a double-digit sacks for this Minnesota Vikings team. I can really see that for sure.
That goes with my hot take.
Absolutely. So, who is your NFC offensive rookie to watch and defensive player to watch?
For what we were talking about the Packers and their coach, I got the offensive. I got Matthew Golden, first round pick. It's going to open up things for Jacobs, and he played for Houston, and then he played for the Texas Longhorns. His only issue is that he's only 5'11", but he's fast, man. He's real fast. Defensive, I got hope I'm not Tyrion Ingram Dawkins. I think he's like a 4th or I think it might have been a 5th round draft pick. He played for Georgia Bulldogs, and you said Georgia Bulldogs they something. All right. So, he's 300 pounds, 6'5", long arms. He seems, when I was watching his collarbone, he probably should have played basketball almost. You know what I mean? Because the way he's a slim, big guy, you know what I mean, with long arms, and he's fast. So he seems his first step looks crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, man, and that Brian Flores, and I think, that Brian Flores defense, I think it's going to be, especially again, with the Lions being kind of question marks, Vikings might be all right. But yeah, I got Tyrion Ingram Dawkins.
Offensively, I'm gonna go with Colston Loveland. He's another one, a stud. I know last week we talked about Tyler Warren. I look at those two guys kind of neck and neck when it comes to who's the best tight end in this draft. And obviously, I'm gonna kind of stick with my bias. Obviously, with Tyler Warren being in our backyard from Mechanicsville, I'm definitely gonna give the nod to him. But I definitely think Colston Loveland was going to be a great tight end, especially in this offense with Ben Johnson, and definitely with a guy like a Caleb Williams. And I definitely can see them. He'd be opposite of Cole Kmet, as far as if they run 2 tight end sets. I definitely think that would be a nice little duo, for Caleb Williams. So, and then defensively, I got Tyleik Williams. He's the first round pick from Ohio State with the Detroit Lions. I think he's obviously when you're a part of a championship team, that's just not nothing to frown upon. I mean, he's a 3-year starter. He didn't have the best numbers, almost when we talked earlier. He only had 2.5 sacks, which that doesn't really jump off the board. But for a team like Detroit, I definitely think he'll fit well in that defense. So I definitely think he'll be someone that'll get some time for the Detroit Lions.
Sure. Okay.
All right. Okay. So we got to go to our NFC North hot take. What is your NFC North hot take?
I had two, but I'm gonna go with this one. Brian Flores has led the Vikings defense to a number one defense, and he is being eyed as the number one candidate for a head coaching job next season.
I'm gonna stay in Minnesota as well. Don't be surprised if their backup quarterback shines. And who is their backup quarterback? Sam Howell. I think Sam Howell potentially have an opportunity down the line. I don't necessarily think it's going to be immediately, but I can see maybe past November, like the trade deadline or so. I can see Sam Howell potentially taking the reins as starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. And that's one thing, too, I like about Minnesota. Obviously, you got that offensive mind of Kevin O'Connell. So I definitely think that's one thing I like about Kevin O'Connell. He's I know we talked about a lot of guys who are like the quarterback whisperer, but he's another one in that tree. I know we talked about Cal a lot as far as being a quarterback whisperer, Sean McVay in a sense, but I think Kevin O'Connell as well is a quarterback whisperer as well too. Obviously, he played the position. He even backed up Tom Brady. Tom Brady outlived Kevin O'Connell, and Tom Brady is older than Kevin O'Connell.
Right.
So, yeah, I think Sam Howell, and I think that's one thing. That was kind of the draft day trade that, everybody was that Saturday was kind of interesting because everybody was on pins knees about Shador being drafted. But I seen this sneaky Minnesota-Seattle deal on that Saturday. I was like, oh, Minnesota got them a dog as far as a backup quarterback, and potentially they got a backup quarterback that has the potential of being a starting quarterback in this league. So
right.
I'm definitely curious what Kevin O'Connell can scheme up for him down the road. But yeah, that was a sleeper move on draft Saturday for sure.
That's interesting. It's probably a lot of backups, because that's probably like they agents like, there's potential that you may just start. What I mean? Like they're trying to move forward with this young man, but hey, be ready. You know what I mean? Be ready when you need to be ready.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think you trade, especially considering the fact with Seattle, because they already had Sam Darnold, and then they also drafted Jalen Milroe. So, hey, this was an opportunity that Minnesota said, "Hey, well, let's get Sam Howell off your hand."
Right,
and they did. So, yeah, definitely.
Who did Sam Howell play for before?
He played for Seattle. Then he played with Washington. He got drafted by Washington, and then he went to as far as school wise, yeah.
Oh, okay. He y'all got man. It wasn't who was the dude that when y'all won the division with? Is that he came after him, right?
You talking about Heineke?
Yeah, is that the guy that y'all drafted after him?
Yeah, well, we drafted Sam in 2022. So Heineke came in 2020.
Right.
So he came in like late 2020. And then they drafted Sam Howell in the 5th round. So pretty much he was like Shador Sanders.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
But they both were there because, matter of fact, that final game against Dallas, because Heineke was going to start. That's how that all played out. And then 2023, he started the whole year. And then obviously with the regime change, he got traded to Seattle. And then he gets traded again this year to Minnesota. So, yeah.
Yeah, you liked him. You liked him a lot. Yeah, you liked him a lot. I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. I got his jersey and everything. I'm probably the only person that has a Sam Howell jersey. And I'm cool with it. I got everybody's jersey, so I don't care. Like
I'm probably the only one. Like,
and I'm fine with that. And I got a Jason Taylor Washington Redskins jersey.
Well, that's classic.
People don't believe me, and I'm like, I do. Like that's not no other Taylor. That's Jason Taylor. That's Joy brother. Like, I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm just saying. I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
but
I'm with you.
hey, man. Hey, it is what it is. I'll put it that way. It is what it is. But yeah. So, record prediction for the North. What you got?
I got the Vikings at 11-6. I got the Lions at 10-7. I got the Packers 7-12.
7-10? Is it 7-10?
Yeah, 7-10. I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm my bad.
All right, Roger Goodell. Oh, don't. Roger Goodell was like, 19 games? Oh, let's do that. Roger Goodell said, 19 games, huh?
And I got the Bears 6-11.
Yeah, Roger Goodell like YouTube TV, Fubo TV. How are we gonna do these 2 extra games, 2 extra NFL weeks? We have a game on. We gotta have 2 weeks of YouTube TV. But yeah. So I got the Vikings also winning the division at 12-5. The Lions at 12-5 think they'd be tied. I think they'll get the tiebreaker this time. The Packers at 10-7, slightly not making the playoffs, and then I got the Bears at 9-8. So this will be a division that every team will be above 500.
Hold up, you got the Bears 9-8.
Yeah,
word.
I think so. I mean,
I was capping a little bit too. It's just you don't know. You know what I mean?
You don't know, but I really, when I'm telling you, when I really sit down and think about it, it's a good team. I think what killed them last year was that collapse against Washington, the Hail Mary. That's what crushed them. I'm telling you, that's something, you know how most people say, oh, well, it's just a game, and you just move on to the next week. It just, at certain, it's like, it was almost like it was a voodoo placed upon them. And it's kind of scary because now they come back to FedEx on October the 13th on a Monday Night Football game, and we're wearing black jerseys again. And I'm like, they could potentially have the exorcism, you know, in week 6 of the NFL season and kind of turn this thing back around. Because I think, I'm telling you, I still, when that team went to London on what, the week, October, what was that? That would have been October the 13th, and they won that game. They were 4-2. And then for them to come back off that bye and just lay an egg after the bye, and then what happened on Thanksgiving, like, those things don't happen. Like, the execution at the end of that game against the Lions on Thanksgiving, where they should have beat the Lions on Thanksgiving, that's the stuff you cannot explain. It's not like, oh, well, you know, they ran this formation. No, they just did stuff that's just uncharacteristically like you cannot explain. So, and I think this is a talent. It's still a good football team. So that's the thing about this Bears team. They're not a slouch.
Right.
Like I said, I think it's gonna be the perfect marriage with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. He needed a guy like him because obviously. And you think about it, he did it in spite of a guy that they had, Matt Eberflus, which I never understood keeping him, especially when you get a rookie quarterback. Because that's why I always thought that situation was always weird to me. Because I figured if you were going to keep Matt Eberflus, you were going to keep Justin Fields. And you just trade out the pick like you've done before. and you just do what you need to do because you're really gonna start off with a quarterback. I think we might have talked about this. You're really gonna start off with a quarterback that you probably not gonna be able to. You're not gonna be coaching for a good time. You don't go in with somebody like him. That's why I think it would have been important for them to kind of get Ben Johnson when even though they still got him, but they should have got him after the 2023 season. But
right,
that's here nor there. But it's here. We're here now. They're doing right by Caleb Williams, in my personal opinion. And
right. So let me ask: do you felt like because the coach that was there last year wasn't it his first year?
I think he's been there. I think that was like his second or third year, which they were turning around. And that's where it's like, that's why I found it so weird where he won. Because remember, because they weren't the worst team.
Yeah.
That was Carolina's pick. So they were like 7 for 8. That's why they got Roma Duzier with that 8th or 9th. I think they had the 9th pick. So they were like 7 and I think they were like 7 and 10. And that's why I was like, that's when I like, well, you should have just got rid of Eberflus. But I guess they gave him a reward because essentially because remember, there was another one where the prior year they had the worst record. They traded down. They gave it to Carolina, and they got Bryce Young.
Right.
That was in 2022. And then fast forward, they had somewhat of a good year. Ended up being 7-9. They went from having the worst record in 2022. And then fast forward the following year, they had I think they finished like 7-9 and ended up having like the 9th overall pick. So I guess they figured, hey, we're making strides. And which they were. And then everything kind of just fell apart. And that's why he got fired. It's funny. The irony is most people get fired on Black Monday. He got fired on Black Friday, which is crazy. Yeah.
Right. So, do you think the coach was upset that they, because they traded Justin Fields, right?
Yeah, he went to y'all. Yep.
Do you think he was upset that they traded him? He didn't want them to trade him.
I don't, and that's one thing that's weird for him because he's defensive coach. He was a defensive guy, so it's kind of one of those things where it's just like I don't know. I think if obviously you don't pass up a guy like a Caleb Williams. At that point, but that's where if this is more so a revisionist history, I would have cut bait with Eberflus. So, you wouldn't have a situation that happened in 2024. But we're here now and you took care of the situation.
So the Bears have had this issue though. That's why I put that I said something earlier, like it ain't just Caleb Williams. It seemed like they've had a quarterback issue for a long time now, right?
You really sit down and think about it. They've never had a 4,000-yard passer. You sit down and you think about a guy that's when I think of two guys that have been successful is Jim McMahon and give or take Jay Cutler.
That's the last. And Cutler took him. Did Cutler take him to the
NFC Championship game?
He didn't go to the Super Bowl, did it? Didn't the Bears go to the Super Bowl like in early 2000s?
No, they went to the NFC Championship game and lost.
They went to the NFC Championship. Okay.
Yeah, that was the year that y'all. Did y'all? Let's hold up. No, that's right. That's the year they won and they beat y'all.
Who did? Okay, so who when the Colts when they had Peyton Manning and that Super Bowl who they play?
Rex Grossman. That was Rex Grossman.
Rex Grossman. Okay. Because I was getting him and Cutler mixed. I was getting him and Cutler mixed up.
Yeah. So Rex Grossman. Yep. They went to Super Bowl. Yep. Rex Grossman. Yep. That was that.
Okay.
They had Lovie Smith. Yep.
Okay.
But yeah. It's been a futility. It's so many bad Bear quarterbacks. It's not bad, but I think of K. McNown, Jim Harbaugh, Who else? Cal Bowler. Who else? Who are some other guys that's been with the Bears? Like, I mean, K McNown. That's it. K McNown, the UCLA product. Yeah, it's a lot of. It's. I mean, you think about the list. I gotta look at like from the history. It's just it's crazy. Yeah, they really haven't had anybody. I mean, when you sit down and think about it, I was looking yesterday at Jim Harbaugh, Mike Tomczak. Who else? Cal. Oh yeah, who cannot forget Cal Bowler? I mean Cal Orton from Vanderbilt University. Cal Orton. Jim Miller. Oh, Shane Matthews. Oh, he's the reason why he got the money in Washington. Matter of fact, Shane Matthews had that one good year. K McNown from UCLA. Yep. Cal Orton.
You know, it's funny because the Lions got Goff, right?
Jared Goff. Yep.
Jared Goff, and you would think. I ain't saying that Jared Goff ain't good, but you know, it might get to the point where you start looking like maybe we probably can get because the quarterback's starting to look a little different. They're starting to be able to move and this and that, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. You know, they might be looking to get a younger quarterback or.
Yeah. But yeah. But yeah, I think they've really struck gold now with the quarterback position. I think he will hit that 4,000 pass yard mark. So, yeah, so it's going to happen this year, Bears fan. And I know Papa Bear Hallis is looking down and like, yeah, I think Caleb's that guy. So I think y'all in good hands. But yeah, I mean, you think about like Matt Barkley, and then not to forget my nephew Mitchell Joe Montana Trubisky, because he had a little run. People kept on like slide like, hey, he has a little couple fourth quarter drives in the pandemic year. Don't get it twisted. My boy was killing it. Don't disrespect Mitchell Joe Montana Trubisky around me. So. Yeah, but Justin Fields, Andy Dalton, Brian Greasy, Chad Hutchinson, Craig Krenzel, Ohio State legend, Craig Krenzel.
Right.
Yikes. This is insane. Chris Chandler. Remember Chris Chandler from Alamo. Yep. Oh, Shane Matthews band. Yeah, man.
Right.
Shout to him. He had that good 1 year with Dick Geron. Got that money in Washington next year, too. He got paid, too. Shout out to Shane Matthews, man. Hey, man. Woo! Man, I look at that list, I'm like, damn. I thought Washington and Cleveland had bad quarterbacks. I'm like, ooh. Damn, at least hey, we had some in between, but goodness gracious, like God, when you think about at least in this 25 year span of history, it's been brutal for the Bears. Nice. Yeah.
Right.
Brutal. But I think they're good now. Barring anything catastrophic, I think they're good.
Yeah, well, the couch coach, so we'll see.
Hey, we shall see. That's the beautiful thing about it. Hey, got the season coming up in a few weeks. We got a little preseason last week, so we had a little bit of a kind of have some imperial data to kind of go over in a sense this week. So that was a good thing. You know, we talked about LeJontay Wester, so that was kind of a good way to kind of introduce him to the world. So this has been the penultimate NFL preview of our divisions. We saved the best for last for next week. So of course we'll wrap up our previews divisional previews next week, as we will discuss the NFC, the AFC and the NFC West, and that includes the AFC West, the New England Patriots, the Buffalo Bills, New York Jets, and the Miami Dolphins. And also on the NFC East side, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, a team that won some ring in some city last year. Dallas Cowboys, the Arlington football team, the New York Giants, and potentially the 2025 NFC East champion Washington Commanders. Dare I say?
Mm-hmm.
But they're just a little tease. But so we will be joined by a special guest next week. Our guy Marcus Leary from WVC Sports. He does his thing with VC basketball. He's a Buffalo Bills fan, so he'll be joining us next week to the party. And then the following week on August the 27th, we will do our what I call the script, where we will give our award predictions, playoff predictions, and who is going to win Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara. So we will give you the script 2 weeks from tonight, which my script was already written. I mean, I did this one night in July. I forgot, maybe like right after the 4th of July. So I already have my Super Bowl champion right here, but you will find out 2 weeks from tonight. So this will be the winning ticket. So I'm not saying don't bet your house, don't bet your mortgage. Maybe bet like a steak dinner. You might get a snack bag. You know, don't be like the Porter brothers. You know, be like, you know, don't bet don't bet responsibly when I give you the script. I'll put it that way. So we'll put a bow on tonight's show. We'll go around the horn. Any final thoughts and social media plug? What you got?
Oh man, great show. So cool when you do these previews. You get to really see in detail the different things. Then I get to ask, you and X questions of what y'all think. So it's just real interesting. Social media, Deshaun Morgan, Facebook, DT Morgan 78, Instagram.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Under Couch Coach Live, the website couchcoachlive.com. Just follow us on social media. So got a few other great things going on besides the preview. So we will be doing some college football previews. So we'll start off our college football preview starting tomorrow. We'll have our guy Ray Rogers, if you know him from Urban Sports Scene, with our guy Wole. Definitely huge shout out to those guys. And so we'll be talking about the Norfolk State Spartans tomorrow at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We got some other guests next week. Just got to confirm them. We'll fine tune it and we'll post it on social media next week. I know we're going to potentially have JMU. Still trying to figure out what's going on with if we're going to have a Liberty guest next week in UVA. So to be determined, but definitely check us out on we'll broadcast it on the Twitter page as far as announcing when those schools will be previewed. So this has been episode 360. No, is this 357? What is that? 357, yes. 357. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. And we're out.
You're welcome.